That was, of course, Witchy Woman from the Eagles, and you are just in time for the new Super Sound Showcase. I'm your host, Robert Hodge, and this is FM 93.5, the Burg, WMBG, AM 740. Today we have a very well-known local artist. Mark Rogers joins us. Welcome, Mark.
Welcome. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, it's nice to get you in here. I know that there were a lot of people in town that were a little disappointed when the hurricane used its influence to make sure your concert at the Kimball Theater did not come off.
Yeah, I was among them. I was very disappointed. We had a great show planned, and luckily we didn't get hit like they did in Carolina.
Exactly. But, I was grateful that it missed us, but really aggravated.
It really did.
That they canceled your show.
Yeah. It was unfortunate. And the thing about the Kimball, it's pretty booked for like the next year, so it doesn't look like we're going to reschedule that particular show anytime soon. But we do have some other things coming up.
Yeah, well, where can people see you while we're on the subject?
Okay, well, the next show is November 10th in Gloucester. It's called Music on Main.
Oh, that's fun, yeah.
Yeah, it's a concert from 7 to 9. You can get tickets at artsonmain.com, I believe, or Gloucester Arts on Main. And I'm going to be playing with a local group called Crimson Fox and Laurie De Los Santos and O.T. Adcock and Tony Steffen. And we're going to have a nice little group there, and looking forward to that show. And then we've got some shows planned in the spring. We're going to be at the Williamsburg Library in March, and then we're going to be at Ten Pan in Richmond in April.
Both great venues. Yeah. That'll be exciting in the spring to have you at the library. That's always a pleasure in that intimate
really
theater. I like it very much.
Have
you been there before?
I've been there. I've not played there, but I think it's a great.
It's a pleasure. It is a pleasure, and a shout out to Micah, because Micah is the best technician in this whole area. I just love working with him. So you'll be in great hands with him.
Good.
All right, so let's talk about music, because you have. I understand you brought us a brand new song.
I did.
Fresh on the heels of you have an album that hadn't been out very long.
No, it came out in June, and I've been thrilled with the reception it's gotten.
No doubt.
Radio has embraced it around the world, actually. Last I heard, it was being played in 99 markets in the U.S. and 1,700 radio stations around the world.
So they only played in food stores? Is that food
markets?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like the cheese shop?
It probably is. Yeah, right. And the thing is, you have no idea when it's being played. It could be played at 3 in the morning, but at least it's being played. And that's
what jumped into my elliptical mind was back in the late 70s. Johnny Carson had Dolly Parton on one time, and she had just put out a new album. He goes, "How's that new album doing?" She goes, "Oh, it's selling like hotcakes." She goes, "I wish it would sell like records, but for right now, it's selling like hotcakes." Oh, golly. So it's always a tricky business, but that's great if you're getting that kind of notice.
I know. I'm thrilled. This is still kind of a part-time hobby thing for me, and to have this kind of reception has been wonderful.
Right. Now, I was disappointed, too, that show that was coming up at the Kimball, you were going to have my friends Little Doors with you, man. I thought that was going to be a great match, actually, to
Little
see
Doors,
you guys together.
They're good friends of mine, and they have played on both of my records. At least Larry Burwald and Dave Hustedler have. And I was really looking forward to playing with those guys. We've never played a show together. We've recorded a lot, but we've never played a show together.
And this last album, you actually were working over at Master Sound, right?
Yeah, Master Sound.
Tell us about working with Rob on that.
Rob Olsch is a wonderful
He's great.
Engineer, producer. And, it's funny, when I first... a couple years ago, when I had maybe a half a dozen or a dozen songs I wanted to get down on tape, Dustin Furlow, who's a local guitarist in town, recommended Rob. And so I gave Rob a call, and he was terrific. He invited me in. We did some rough scratches, just acoustic guitar.
Right.
And then he said, "You know what we need? We need some musicians, and I've got the right guys." And he brought in Larry Burwald immediately.
Oh, he's a genius.
And Larry, listened to my songs and made some arrangements, suggestions, and instrumentation suggestions, and made them come to life. And and I've worked with him now on both albums, and so Rob is terrific, first class.
So it's just a few minutes from now that you're going to hear some of these songs from Mark Rogers, but in advance, and just going with the positive spin that you are going to want these albums, what is your favorite way for people to go find your music?
Yeah, well, you can download it anywhere, all the normal places like Spotify or Google Google Play or.
But if somebody really wants
Amazon,
that physical
if they
CD,
want
what do they
go
do?
go to CD Baby.
Okay,
I would say
that's a
that'd be
great
the
place.
best place. CDBaby.com.
Okay.
And you can get the physical CD, or you can go to my Bandcamp site, MarkRogers1 at bandcamp.com.
Okay.
And we'll send you the physical CD.
Awesome. Tell me just a little bit about your background. When did music get into your soul?
Well, I can tell you exactly. It was, I think, February 7th, 1964.
That is very, very specific. I like it. Okay.
That was the day.
What happened that
was
day?
the day I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
That was the day the Beatles came over and played the Ed Sullivan Show for the first time. And my
Okay.
14-year-old aunt called my mom screaming, saying, "Turn the TV on. You got to see that." And I...
Right.
and I'm 5 years old, and I see this, these four guys singing. I think they started off with "All My Lovin'," and that was it. That was
Right.
it. Nothing has ever come close to that in terms of just a raw experience. And from then on, music was a huge part of my life. In high school, I played in a bluegrass band. After college, I went out to Los Angeles to try to be a songwriter and singer-songwriter. Had a band going in L.A. I ran out of money and all this stuff, and I came back to Washington, D.C., where I'm from, and really just relegated it to hobby status for like 30 years.
Wow.
And raised a family in D.C., and 2009, I guess I got divorced in 2006. In 2009, I reconnected with the woman of my dreams. Let's say.
Nice.
She was somebody I dated in my 20s, who lives down here in Williamsburg, owns a prominent business down here, and I moved down here to be with her. We got married in 2011, and my music started coming back to me, and it just was, and it's become a real important part of my whole being right now.
One of the things that I happened to think about while you were talking about being a singer-songwriter in L.A., there is a whole different side of performing in LA, as you know. And one of the things that I found when I first moved out there and was trying to get club engagements and stuff, they have this crazy little setup in LA where everybody wants you to perform in showcases as well as the performances that they're paying you for. And I really had to laugh because the first time I went into a club and they're like, "Oh, we want to book you, and here's the date we're going to do your show, but you have these 5 dates that you have to come and perform for free." For everyone to, I was like, "What are you talking about? This is not what happens."
Yeah.
And so they have the craziest system out there, and it makes it very difficult for people to really get a hold, because they expect so much for nothing before they even give you a little chance to do something. But funny you should say that, because I've always felt like the real competition was for mediocre spots, and that if you had true talent and you worked really hard, I don't see that it's really an issue.
Yeah.
We are going to go out for a couple of messages. We have a couple of commercials that have to play, and then we are going to come right back with more of Mark Rogers, and he's going to perform 3 songs for us. We will be on a temporary hiatus while the commercials play on the radio, but we are live on social media still, so if you want to see what's going on in the studio, you can definitely keep that camera active, and we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Super Sound Showcase, sponsored by Culture Fix, here on FM 93 The Burg and WMBG AM 740. We are back. This is Super Sound Showcase, sponsored by Culture Fix, here on WMBG AM 740 and FM 93.5 The Burg. I am your host, Robert Hodge, and today our prominent music guest is Mark Rogers. Mark, welcome back.
Thank you. Nice to be
Did you
here.
enjoy that break?
I loved it.
All right, so it's time for the music now. Let's hear what you're going to do. What is this first song?
Well, I decided to come here with a brand new song.
Great.
So
We like world premieres.
Yeah, this is a world premiere, that's for sure. I am going to, I was planning on doing it at the Kimball. Since that didn't happen, I am going to do it in Gloucester, but I'm going to do it first.
So it still gets its Williamsburg premiere.
Right.
I like it.
All right, it's called I Know It So Well.
Okay.
Just like the way of your hand in the wake of the night, have I done I know it so well. I don't know where time is gone. It's like a breeze on the sea. It's like the blues coming on, and they're waiting for me. And I know them so well. I drove my car into town just to stand on my own. I was laying it down, and I was feeling alone. And I know it so well. Just like the weight of your hand and the tear in your eye, I just can't understand how the tears just roll by. But I know them so well.
Still deciding on that ending, are you? That's fun. I like that. That's got a clever little like laid back bluesiness
Yeah,
to it that I didn't know was coming.
Yeah.
Cool. What's the next song? What do you have?
I'm going to do a song that is on my new record called the record's called Qualifiers. The
Right.
song is called "The World Changed Forever." For those of you now who are too young to know, and anyone else thinking, why is it so? I'll give you the reason we're fit to be tied. The world changed forever when John Lennon died. Come gather round, people, and I'll tell you why. The winds are increasing, the wells have run dry. The smiles on your faces are turning a frown. The world fell to pieces when Lennon went down. I speak from experience and wonder myself how all of our wisdom is dust on the shelf. How everything new pulls us farther apart. much different with John Lennon's heart. It all began slowly in 80 or so. We started to question the things that we know. The rich became richer, the rest of us cried. The world changed forever when John Lennon died. The radio signals that carried the song seemed just as they were, but then something was wrong. The soul that we'd known was no longer around. The world fell to pieces when Lennon went down. Oh, sure, there's been moments and things to remind. Nirvana and Dylan's Time Out of Mind. King of America, sky blue and black. The working class hero is not coming back. You felt it before and you feel it again. The chill in the room, the howl in the wind, the ache in your heart as the president lies. The world was much different through John Lennon's eyes. I finish this story and call it a day, and get back to the records that I used to play. I'm only sleeping in Ticket to Ride. The world changed forever when John Lennon died.
We have one more song left, Mark.
Yeah.
What do you have?
Well, this is also from the new record. I moved to Williamsburg about 7-8 years ago, and
Okay.
We are lucky enough to live on Halfway Creek, and we have a little piece of paradise there. And sometimes in the mornings, I'll just go out on the deck and watch all the wildlife and the birds and so forth, and I'm reminded about how amazing it is down here compared to Capitol Hill, D.C., where I'm
Do
from.
you ever wonder while you're watching all of them if they're watching you in return?
Yeah. Well,
Do you sing to them?
I bring my guitar out all the time. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, if
Anyway.
you notice the proliferation of wildlife, maybe it had something to do with that. Word of mouth will spread about the music.
Anyway, this is called You Can Lead Me On, and again,
Awesome.
it's off the new record.
Great.
It's an East Virginia morning and a late September night. And the movement of my senses makes everything seem right. You can lead me on. You can lead me on through this odyssey of color and the changing of the light. The reflection on the water in proportion to the sky. An illusionary balance helps the time go by. You can lead me on. You can lead me on through the echo of my breathing and the visions in my eyes. I was taking pictures, I was writing songs, I was telling someone I've been right and wrong. I've been righting wrongs. There's a temporary lover in the brilliance of the moon. And a gathering sensation that I'll be leaving here too soon. You can lead me on. You can lead me on. From the limitless of daylight to the shadows of my room. I was taking pictures, I was writing songs, I was telling someone I've been writing wrong. Yeah, I've been writing wrongs. There's a temporary lover in the brilliance of the moon. And a gathering sensation that I'll be leaving here too soon. Oh, you can lead me on. You can lead me on. From the limitless of daylight to the shadows of my room. Shadows of my room.
I like that. You know, there's a certain really catchy phrase in there about righting wrongs. I like that. Yeah. That's very cleverly written.
Thank you very much.
When did that come about?
About a year ago, I'd say. You know, the first line is.
So you're really coming into your own now, then.
Yeah, it is. It's a wonderful thing that's happening to me.
Nice.
I'm writing a lot of music, and words are coming through, and I couldn't be happier about it.
Well, I'm happy we had this chance to encourage your music and your work. It's all very nice, and happy to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, and thanks so much for your support.
Absolutely.
Especially for the Kimball show, which unfortunately didn't happen. But
yeah, I thought we had a darn good ad running on the on the radio. It's like, well, shoot, that's not cool. They canceled and pulled the plug on it. But anyway, I do want to say just a very special greeting and a thank you to our friends at Culture Fix, to Steve and Jen and Shirley, because they are joining us starting this week. It is the beginning of the second year that they are sponsoring Super Sound Showcase. We came to the end of that contract, and they were quick to sign up and renew again. So I'm just as grateful as I am to the people that tune in to listen, but even more so because they make it possible. So nice. Thanks to our friends at Culture Fix. Please go tomorrow night. They will be doing their show to kick off the occasion for the arts. Please go down into Merchant Square and support them as they do that. And thank you, as always, for tuning in to Super Sound Showcase. I am delighted to host this every Thursday, and we will hear more from Mark Rogers. Tell him your website.
Yes, it is markrogers1@bandcamp.com.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. You have a great day, and we are going back to the music you love. Here is Elton John with Little Genie.